Hello folks, welcome to another Bitcoin market analysis okay, we don't have any time. Inspocrypto. What should I say? Nothing happening, absolutely nothing happening. Absolutely nothing happening. That's really crazy. I think I need some crypto vacations and stop trading. It doesn't make any sense at the moment, to be honest. Something is going on. In my opinion, we will see 18K first before more downside. Maybe they won't just distribute at 18K and then go down once again. I have tweeted today, for example, also some informations and about what is happening in the market. What I do usually is to make such kind of ad hoc report, and just, I mean, one thing that's clearly bullish in case that's happening, or two things, is one, the material scientist indicator, where he's tracking big orders, and big guys, it seems, at least those with big orders, are buying. I need to ask if that's, passive buying, so with order books and not marking purchases, because you have you can just buy with the current market price, or you can start a limitation, a limit order. It's then part of the order book, and they separate them. So he is indicating they are accumulating, or at least they are buying. But they did that before as well, and that was a quick accumulation, and they distributed even in a price that was lower than their purchase price. So usually I would say that doesn't make any sense. Yes, exactly. It doesn't make any sense. You can do that in case you have, different purposes. For example, arbitrage or whatever. Then it doesn't matter anymore, because the only thing you are looking for is to see and to find a quick price gap between exchanges, for example. But usually then it should be a very really quick operation. It shouldn't take long. So I don't really know why these guys are accumulating, while every other entity, for example, even those who are also big, so making orders between $100,000 and 1 million, are distributing once again. So the big question is, are these guys just looking to go up once again to 18 to 19, distribute and go down once again? Because, we received a lot of Bitcoins, and that's the big question. While we have bigger limitations between 18 and 19. Something I have said many times also in the recent analysis. We will check today again. The whole situation is, in my opinion, very critical, because with Genesis we are talking about infrastructure. So where institutionals can, where you have the opportunity for lending, borrowing, and so on and so forth. So like Silvergate Gate Capital, for example, that's pure infrastructure and very critical. And when they get in problems, usually the whole industry will take a hit. So it's really crazy to be bullish under the current circumstances. Also, it seems that the Fed, after the recent data, is changing its sentiment, saying, well, 7% interest rate is on the table. Well, while QT is 95 billions per month at the moment. So it's really hard to say, we are going to moon next. The question is, what is happening behind and why these guys are buying? While in the past they did the same and, in my opinion, didn't really a good job. So if we check, for example, the active market purchases, the CBD, we can see they are distributing, they are selling. They are selling more than buying. That's what CBD is indicating. But at the same time, the Wales ratio 1 hour time frame is indicating that whales are trying to push the price up. What does that mean? Well, usually when they make, for example, I'll show you directly here before we start to go directly and check all the data. When you see that here, I never have found such a sequence before. And the last month since November, I didn't. That looks a little bit desperate, to be honest, because they are sending less bitcoins and usually the price moves up, but it's not. It's not moving up. So why not? No buyers anymore there? It seems yes, because we have order book buyers. They are buying. Otherwise, material scientists chart couldn't show that up. I show you what chart I'm talking about for those who missed the tweet. So you can see perfectly here what happened. That's going to be a very strange beginning for my analysis, but I need to show you that. You know, I mean, they were distributing, selling, and then quick accumulation, okay, while the price were here. And they started to buy the downturn trend. So then they started to distribute. They started to distribute when the price was going up. That's really extremely curious. So I can imagine they did a good deal with that, because they distributed even more. Even the price went down to that level here. So, and the main concentration wasn't here. And maybe now I have to change. So the main purchase concentration wasn't here. That would explain maybe. So since here, they started to buy once again. So as you see from here, buying. While we can see, and these guys are the biggest one, at least the order volume they have is the biggest one. But if we check, for example, the order volume for 100K to 1 million, it's declining here. So some others, bigger ones, not bigger, but big ones, are at the same time distributing. So it's the big problem and the big question right now, because flow activity right now, it's really foggy. With all the bank runs, we don't see the big outflows. We only can detect inflows. So, of course, I mean, many people, the masses, for example, the retailers, are taking off all their assets and bitcoins from centralized exchanges. So usually, of course, the Bitcoin reserves on centralized exchanges has to decline. Obviously, they have. But doesn't mean they bought before. I mean, they bought maybe 3 months ago, 2 weeks ago. Doesn't mean immediately afterwards they remove their assets from centralized exchanges. And that's the big problem why we are seeing a lot, huge amounts of outflows where, I mean, even the Bitcoin in and outflow provider is saying be careful, because, for example, like Gemini, after they announced they had some problems, a lot of outflow happened. But does that automatically mean whales jumped all into Gemini to buy their Bitcoins and Ethereums to remove them afterwards? I guess not. I guess it was maybe an ongoing bank run, or still a lot of market actors are very nervous at the moment, and we need to have all these informations in mind. What I see here, for example, is, well, what should I say? I mean, Bitcoin at the moment moving and heading once again to that area here where we failed once. Now, I think we are very close. They will try again, and I mean, they are really trying to maintain the price. I'm feeling as well that a little bit the sell pressure declined, correlates very well to the one hour time frame, indicating whales are not At least, I don't know if they are selling, but at least they are not sending much more Bitcoins to centralized exchanges. Usually, that's a sign they want to let the price goes up. And that's why I feel that the sell pressure is reducing. So they want to let the price goes up to sell in an upper price level. However, for me, it's just too risky to play in that environment, to be honest. It's just too risky. I don't need to do that, you know? So I'm not a professional trader that I'm dependent on if I'm making gains with these trades or not. It's much more a hobby for me. So I will stay away. I will close my positions, and that's it. That's it for me. I guess for a time. I will see when I see that the market is calming down and so on and so forth, and the whole thing is much more clear. I guess I will jump in again. Not talking about spot. Spot, it's a different story. Long-term spot, always. But future trading, I will stop trading with futures because, you know, tiny ranges, and I don't see here, it's too foggy everything. Just too foggy everything. So I would be extremely careful trading under the current circumstances, to be honest. Because some people think just because we have a lot of liquidity waiting below of 16K, the bottom is in, or at least current bottom is in. And, you know, I mean, that's what passive buyers do. They use this kind of orders to absorb the dip. That's the thing. So just to say, that's it. And, you know, we have there a big sandwich with liquidity. It's protecting all the area. In my opinion, in my personal opinion, I think that's the wrong approach. But, you know, because we also have limitations to the upside at 18.5, for example. Doesn't mean if they want to push up, we can push up, like we did in the past. So I would be extremely careful. However, let us go and start and make a quick thing here. First of all, weights ratio 30 days moving average, lifting up even more, indicating they are still sending Bitcoins, but as you see, it's making much less progress. So yeah, they are still bearish. Yeah, we are above of 56, indicating they want to send, but at the moment, you know, it maintains. So nothing big happening here. If we check, for example, here, let me refresh the site. So now we can see that better. And a little bit, and it's really the first time I see such kind of pattern, but that looks like it's one person, really just one entity playing with the whole market. So the price goes a little bit up, we raise the sell pressure. The price goes a little bit down, we stop with the sell pressure. That's how it looks like. That's my interpretation as someone that's working with a weights ratio for a long time. What should I say? It looks, I mean, just check the weights ratio 30 hours moving average. It's declining. The first time since a while, below of 65. Usually I would say, whoa, the bottom is in. Let us go in. All in longs. Because, you know, never have seen that. Never before. Not usually with such dumps. Yeah, that's common. That's indicating we will go up, even if it's just short term. But what I'm seeing here doesn't make any sense. And it looks a little bit they want to let the price goes up, but they don't want to buy. That's at least how it looks like. While we know that, like material scientist showed in his chart, that passive buyers are buying big. So, well, big. They are buying. Not maybe that big, but buying. That's the fact. They are buying. So usually that means they are not buying. maybe only if they are institutionals buying to nuke afterwards, like FTX did. You remember a few months ago where I said be careful, only because they are accumulating doesn't mean we will go up. Because I remember in March the meeting between Goldman Sachs and FTX, and it happened. People were absolutely confident FTX will push up because they were accumulating, and afterwards I was right. They nuked the market afterwards with all these bitcoins they bought before. So, what I see here is that stablecoin supplies is rising. I mean, almost 3 billions in 10 days. But I can't find any other separate source that's showing me exactly that. I mean, I tried different things and I can't verify that. I really can't verify that. At the same time, centralized exchanges, their stablecoin reserves are right now just dumping. So that indicates they are taking stablecoins out of centralized exchanges. But when happens that? Only when people are selling their assets and taking away stablecoins. That's the only way. So arbitrage? Possible? I can't tell you that. Not yet. Let us go forward. So if we check, for example, the Bitcoin flow activity, we remember that was in June with the big nuke that happens, and this time that wasn't that big. Absolutely not. We did this time almost $5,000. Last time it was from 31 to 17, so almost $14,000. It was a completely different story, also related to the volume. This time it wasn't that bad, 100,000, even more, over 100,000 inflows between November 9th and November 10th, and so on and so forth. But the most interesting part is this year. Usually, like for example last year, we received a lot of stablecoins and they started to purchase and hiding their purchases, and then afterwards we pushed up very hard. At the moment we can see the net flow. It's indicating we have more red, so more stablecoins they are leaving the exchange that coming in. So also here not really indicating that we should expect such a big move to the upside, even if we know we can do something like mention, to 18k, 19k, whatever. However, also here the market came a little bit, calmed down. So at the moment, today's biggest Bitcoin inflows were 2,000 Bitcoins. That's peanuts. Afterwards, it was even lower than 1,000 per hour. So that's really, so the whole market is cooling down. And at the moment, we don't really see how much Bitcoins they have accumulated just because of the whole bank run we have seen because of the FTX collapse. And that's really pain in, at the moment, because as an on-chain analyst, one of my approach is to see where's the money going to. And partly, of course, the Bitcoin reserves on centralized exchanges. So now to detect how much Bitcoins they still have there, it's absolutely impossible. Absolutely impossible. So yeah, we need to figure out and that's also why I think it's better just to stay away. And even if the price goes up, I wouldn't care. I personally, as I don't need the money of trades, I wouldn't care. But I know that some of you, I don't know if you are dependent of the money, but you want the money. I sometimes I'm really risky friendly, but at the moment it doesn't make any sense to me. Absolutely not. It's not about the money. It's about the time I have to spend to make a strategy, a trade strategy. I don't see, to be honest, the opportunity to make a big or a nice gain with that. Not at the moment. Maybe we will go up, maybe we will go down more, but at the moment, it's really, a lot of things is happening that I don't like, because when infrastructure is taking hits, that's a big problem. FTX, it's not a problem. Of course, for retailers, it's a problem. They were extremely big and very connected. The money were okay, we will see much more collateral effects because of that. But infrastructure is the core of every market. If they take a hit, it's, you will have a disruption of the whole system that can bring the whole system down. And that's something, it's too hot, really just too hot. Let us go forward. So, funding rate, nothing have changed. I mean, the funding rate is indicating that we have a bigger demand for longs than for shorts. That's what's indicating. Open interest maintains its recovering, but in very slow pace, and leverage ratio coming back. That's the thing. I mean, we don't see here anything big related to stablecoins and derivative exchanges, and even here related to bitcoins, it's declining. So also here, nothing big to mention, to be honest. If we take a look, for example, here, that's the daily one. Also here, no big liquidations happening. Absolutely not. The only thing we see here is, for example, that's the purple one. That's the funding rate. It declined very hard, and it's going up like, So indicating they are demanding a lot of longs. A lot of longs. Usually I would say that's a trap. But open interest, as mentioned, recovering, but very, very slowly. And leverage ratio recovering once again even faster. I think because people are starting to, to trade with less volume and more leverage. I'm not doing it. For me, as mentioned, I'm right now since a while just trading with much less money, because, I was expecting something big, but I mean, FTX surprised me, but it was a little bit part of my scenario. Something big. I mean, I know a little bit how these markets work, like the .com bubble. I mean, I remember very well about the .com bubble, it was very similar. Even the headlines, the media was working at the same way. They hyped a lot of people, all those who burned a lot of money afterwards. And, I mean, I'm convinced that crypto is here to stay and it's part of our future, but it will change. In my opinion, it will change. And we know that we have CBDCs on our back because they are pushing very hard at the moment. And part of the whole foot against crypto comes also it comes from the whole CBDC pilot project and launch preparations, in my opinion. So, do you need stablecoins if you are going to launch your own CBDC, digital currency? Answer to yourself. I don't think so. It doesn't make any sense. Absolutely not. Why? Why should they? For what? I don't know. I really don't know. So, if we go forward, we will see Binance. And Binance at the moment, well, I mean, since November 10th, it's only up. Funding rate only up. Only we are extremely, it's just indicating they are demanding also more longs there. We can see here the leverage ratio. Oh, my mouse. The leverage ratio and the open interest. So that's what's happening on Binance. If we go to Blockchain Whispers, just to check what's happening there, let me refresh here as well. And we see we still have a little bit less shorts. It's interesting that on Bitfinex now shorts are coming in big, because 134 millions, that's for Bitfinex really big. I don't know why. Longs maintaining at a low level, where you remember we had 2.2 billions just 6 weeks ago or something. So that yeah, you know, I mean, we have a ratio here of 67 to 33. In my opinion, doesn't look very healthy, but it's just my personal opinion. It seems that many are expecting we will go up, only bottom is in or whatever. I don't know. We will see. Many also said that 18K is our bottom. Last year it was 30, and so on and so forth. So I think it's really hard really to say, hey, great, to say where the bottom is. And that's why I don't like to make such kind of forecast, and just, you know, we need to check the data day after day and to see if something is changing, and if so, why. We always need to try to figure out why, and maybe who is behind. So what's his goal? What's the strategy behind? You know, that's not that easy. It's not just, you know, many of you know I'm basic. I use TA just for basic purposes. For me, it's pure on-chain analysis and options a little bit, and so on and so forth. So if we check here, it looks completely different. But if we check the liquidations, I mean, if I'm not wrong, we had in the beginning of this week 150 millions in liquidations, liquidation clusters or liquidation bars or liquidation count or whatever. Yesterday we had 100 million, now we have 50 million. Interesting. I don't know why, but yeah. If we check that here, we can see we have mid leverage, still these shorts here, but not big anymore, while longs are coming. So we have here liquidation clusters at 14.4, at 13, and 11.5. So very, I would say, mid leverage to low leverage, much more low leverage. And here as well, the next bigger liquidation cluster at 19.6 and 20,000, and later on low leverage 23, and so on and so forth. So as you can see here, from our current price, it would make more sense, at least it would be quicker just to go in that direction, that and that here. I can see here right now that they are trying to push up very hard. That's insane. That's just, you know, I guess if we go back because of SPY, yes, of course, because DXY is consolidating here, it seems, above of 107, and they will play around, go up once again, go down, and that's so nonsense, but it is what it is. Let me go back. Well, that's it. Let us go forward. So if we check here, for example, we see we have a big support area at 16,500. It's a support area if the price is above. It's a resistance area if the price is below. At the moment we are trading at 16,600, means they want to push the price up above, at or above 16,500. The next bigger resistance would be at 17.5 or even 18.5, but you know, here are, in my opinion, bulls in control at the moment, indicating they want to push the price a little bit more up, at least maintain the price above of 16.5. Makes sense at the moment. So next resistance would be at 16,750. Also makes sense if you check the chart. We tried twice to retest that area and failed, even it's not a big resistance, and we have a bigger one at 17.5, just to make it clear. So if we go here, we can check if we find anything big. Bull call spread, bear put spread, custom strategy. Reverse call calendar, let me check, Theta, Gamma, Premium USD, yeah. So all just these three, I mean, bull call spread is bullish, bear put spread is bearish, sorry, and custom strategy, nobody knows. So we will try our best to see what's happening there. Oh, let us start with the bull call spread. Bull call spread, here we go. Oh, we have a lot of trades here. Let us check the biggest size. And here we have. So, yeah, that's mainly for next year. They are indicating here they are expecting a price above of 30K until end of June next year. Or 29K or 35K end March next year. If we take a look, for example, at least those two are big in volume, also in premium. So they bought almost 500,000 of calls, 20K for example here, and here 400,000. So they are expecting to see next year in June and summer 30K or 29K or even above. That's what they are indicating here. So if we go forward, that would be their bear put spread. The bear put spread, for example, it's a bearish strategy, and we have here the biggest one where they are indicating they are expecting a price level below, at or below 16K until end of the year. And they spent, for example, here we can see 2 million for the puts 19K and sold just put 16K for 860,000. So that's really huge, to be honest. 2 million in premium, that's really big. And they are just indicating here, for example, as mentioned, that they are expecting a price move below 16K until end of the year, indicating we are not done, we will go down once again. So yeah, but first let us liquidate the shorts once again, and then let us liquidate the longs once again. It's a cash cow. The whole game, I would love to be exchange. I think you don't need to do anything. It's just sometimes press a button, wreck all of them, and then, you know, yeah, nothing have changed. With them or without, nothing will change, I guess. If we take a look, custom strategy, multi-leg. Oh, it's a trade with 3 different strikes with different expiries. We have here June 23, March 23. It's really hard to say what's behind that. So 25, 2026, it looks like someone is expecting here a price of 25K until end of June. So now it seems people are flipping to more bullish for next year. We remember just a few days ago we were seeing price levels of just 23, 24,000 for next year. Now they are indicating 30, 28, 30, 35. I don't know. I don't know if they have a crystal ball or they wake up and say, oh, I had a vision. Next year in June, we will see 35K. Like, you know, this little video of Sam where he is just sleeping on the sofa and then he's waking up with his eyes. And so that's like I would imagine. So wake up and I had a vision. We will see 35K next year. Or maybe it was 350K. Oh, I don't remember anymore. Doesn't matter. So, you know, that's how it works at the moment. So yeah, that's it. Related to options, we see they are flipping once again more to bullish, but everything for next year, for this year, even end of the year doesn't look that great. So they are still expecting we can go down below 16k until or at 16k. So expecting such kind of double bottom at 15.8 and then go up. Would be possible, would be even a nice scenario to close this phase. But the question is, who is going to buy all the bitcoins and for what? Because do you really think that after all what's happening, if the X collapse, I mean, the ordinary Joe is not stupid. He is not going to spend his money and saying, oh, they collapsed a lot of exchanges and stuff and saw a lot of really bad news, but you know what, Mary? I'm going to spend my whole retirement in crypto now. Someone has to absorb their bags when we are at 20. Let us say 30, 35, I don't care. Who is going to buy a 35k? Obviously, it's not going to be Inspo. So, I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe we will see a new comeback with Sam. Maybe he will change just the nose, the eyes, and his name, and that's it. And he is going to come back and with new FOMO, and I don't know if I'm in disbelief or the whole market is in disbelief. However, let us go forward. So if we check Binance, for example, at the moment we see, and that's our, as I need to prove that, but I guess he is right, that CBD is just, it's just counting market purchases or sales, not order books. I mean, it's the volume delta. In my opinion, the volume should include also order book, but it seems it's not. I was maybe wrong then. I don't know. I need to check that because I didn't find any information about that yet. But because they are related to CBD, always talking about purchases and sales and volume delta, yeah, but what is part of the volume then? I mean, usually in a market, the volume should be part of the whole activity in this market and not separate in order books volume and market volume. That's something I need to check. Maybe I'm totally wrong. You can send me a DM if you want, whatever. However, CBD volume delta, the cumulative volume delta, is indicating here it's going down. So it seems market actors are selling. Of course, right now it's going a little bit up. That's why the price is going up. We need to see if they are going to trade a double top and we will go down once again, or what they are going to do. But we see that the spot CBD is also indicating the same direction, even if it's pushing up a little bit, but that's how it looks. The only thing that looks really nice is futures with Bitcoin collateral and futures with stablecoin collateral. That's the only thing. At least it looks better than spot. If we go forward, we can see what Bitfinex is doing. Nothing. They are not even buying this little pump or whatever it is. They are not doing it. They distribute it now, not doing anything. If we check, for example, Kraken, well, I mean, they purchase, distributed, and now, I don't know. They are just looking like, I just want to push a little bit. I don't know why. If we check Bybit, flat, really flat. And I mean, they just related to CBD, in 4 days, a negative CBD of 5,000 bitcoins. That's really big. Not doing anything here. Of course, Coinbase. Coinbase here since 3 days buying back and bought 3,500 bitcoins at the same time since yesterday not really buying anymore. They distributed a little bit buying, but that's it. And then we have, last but not least, Bitstamp, and Bitstamp also part of the buyers since November 14th, rising in CBD, indicating they're buying. If we go forward and we check the entities, we can see that it looks like part of the bank run by retailers. They are rising their balances more. Even here, for example, they are reducing it, so the pace of this increase in balances is reducing, but they are still increasing. And even these guys here pushing. There are wallets with 10 to maximum 100 bitcoins. If we check these guys here, not doing anything. They are buying a little bit, selling afterwards, buying, but that's usual. I mean, I spent a lot of time analyzing. I need a break. These entities and these guys are always doing the same. Market maker, just selling, just at least reducing its balance all the time, only reducing its balance. Sometimes you think, oh, it looks like, no. The day after, a few hours later, they start to reduce their balances even more. You know, if we had October 7th, a balance of 4,910,000 bitcoins, 4,920,000 bitcoins. Now, today, we have 300,000 less bitcoins and their balances. While, for example, entities, retailers, little whales and entities, for example, these guys here, related to centralized exchanges by Binance, Bitfinex, Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, and so on and so forth, are lifting up. So it's curious because we have a bank run on Gemini, for example, it seems, so it seems others are getting. I have seen, for example, a lot of transactions Gemini to Kraken. So it looks like many are just moving their assets to centralized exchanges where they think at least they are more safe. I'm not going to say if they are safe or not. Absolutely not. But that would indicate that entities or wallets related to centralized exchanges are getting more bitcoins. I don't know if they are getting bitcoins or they are buying bitcoins from each other. I really don't know. Or what they are doing. Maybe they are absorbing from market maker bitcoins. I really don't know. But fact is, everything below 100 bitcoins are rising, mostly since FTX announced its collapse. And right now, since few days, the entity related to centralized exchanges are lifting up as well. Also here indicating that these guys are just getting more bitcoins. The market maker had yesterday the last big move. He sent 3,500 bitcoins here. Since then, flat. Nothing happening. It was midnight, another 700 bitcoins, but that's it. Nothing happened afterwards anymore. So if we check, for example, here, we can see, at least on CryptoQuant, also here the balances related to Bitcoin reducing, on derivative lifting up, so indicating they are getting some. We received another 650 bitcoins by the market maker. So also here it seems indicating they were selling. If we go here, we can see what I have mentioned. So we went up. They sent a lot of bitcoins to centralized exchanges. Then afterwards we dumped. So their reserves declined because people took off their bitcoins from centralized exchanges. Then it lifted up. Then the whole Gemini thing happens. Then it declined. Never have seen that. If you can see that here, never happened. Not in that way. I don't know. That's in my opinion, the pattern of a bank run where people are just taking Bitcoins from centralized exchanges. We can see here, for example, and that's the big problem why I say it's foggy at the moment, because, you know, if you check that here, you would say, wow, they are buying mad. Yeah, but it correlates with the whole Gimini thing and with the whole BlockFi thing and with the whole... That's the problem. We don't know. We can't separate and define if what's happening here was related to a bank run or if really big whales just are taking out their Bitcoins. Nobody knows. That's the big problem we have. At the same time, we are noticing, and that's what these guys are saying, that, for example, also Binance is shifting, moving internal operations to new wallets for their proof of reserves. That's another thing that makes everything a little bit more complicated if it comes to check what's happening to the flow activity. So we need a different approach. I mean, we are not going to miss this one, but we will keep using it, but we need to be extremely careful, because that's a perfect situation for whales if they really, or exchanges, if they really want to push up very hard. For example, you know, even if it's just short term, even if it doesn't mean just only to liquidate all the shorts and to go down once again to retest 16 or go even lower, doesn't matter. But that's what it is. We see here the Bitcoin price, or at least, well, you can't see that. The Bitcoin price is the orange one, but you can see at least we have here the Bitcoin price, the orange curve, and you see the activity related to centralized exchanges. And it's declining sharply at the moment. At the same time, also for futures, it's declining. So, related to the activity, it means some exchanges should be underwater because they need to make money. I mean, Binance is not making money with spot anymore. Bitget is not making money with spot anymore. OKEX is not making, I guess OKEX as well. I don't know. I mean, many are not just, you know, charging any spot fees anymore. So they only have futures then. I mean, what is the alternative? DeFi? Yields? I don't know. I mean, I don't have any clue, to be honest. So miners, nothing. Very quiet at the moment. That's at least a nice thing. Let us go forward. So what we see here, right now we see that, you see this order, that's passive buyers. So what I talked just in the beginning of my video, we have passive buyers, we have active buyers, and this here, for example, are waiting to get the price down once again to absorb all the Bitcoins. They are using it also to sell at the same moment. So I guess we have some algos here, they buy here, then they move the orders to the upside. They can make all the time money with that. Buy low, even if it's just a difference of $50, it depends on the volume you are trading, you can all the time, like an automated mechanism, buy low, sell high, buy low, sell high, all the time. So if someone is accumulating, that would be the only way how they are doing it, and we can't really track that. The only thing, I mean, we have the CBD here. In my opinion, that should be part of the volume, but a follower told me no, it's not. That's something I need to check if that's really the case, that passive buys are not part of the volume. Something that would surprise me, but you know, I'm also not the ultimate trading god. So yeah, we need to see. I mean, because that's what they love to do. You know, we had that on Binance different times. You remember. where they start to push the price up. For example, they did here. You can see that. Much more, you see that here? Much more orders. So if you want to go down, we will push you up. Right now here the same, indicating they want to push the price to the current level, because we have on both sides exactly the same. So let us go and check about any kind of walls. So we are here, we see on Coinbase nothing changed, absolutely nothing changed. Also here, you know, if you think these walls here are just to protect, then explain me how this kind of stuff can happen. In my opinion, these are to get triggered. That's the dip buyers. Big. Of course, big. Of course, they will use certain liquidity to protect. For example, if I see such a concentration here, I would say, I don't know. But that means below 14K. That means we can go without any problem to here and then go up once again. So just to say, we have here a lot of orders, so it's well protected, I would be extremely careful with that. Absolutely. Because as they showed just before, and I remember, you can, also here, for example, take a look. And maybe even just before. Can we see that much more? Look how protected it was. Nothing have changed because of that, because they triggered all these buy orders. So does that automatically mean it's well protected, we can't go down? No. In my opinion, no. It's just indicating us that, first of all, we have certain limitations. So the price can bounce there. And yes, usually it depends how much volume they have to sell. We will go down even more. Now we have just two options. A lot of sell volume or less liquidity to the downside. That's the only scenario I have. Or they remove a lot of liquidity here and let the price goes down. Also an alternative. So if they want to have a sharp price move to the downside, like a flash crash, then they should start to remove liquidity here to allow a higher pace. But if it's just distributing and buy the dip, the best what they can do is just let what they did. I mean, if you check here, they started to remove liquidity. And they moved a little bit to a lower area, for example. So order books is part of an analysis, but I wouldn't just use the order books to make a whole trade strategy. You need to be extremely careful with that. However, we see we don't have anything to the upside. We have sell orders here, for example, at 17K and some here at 18 and so on. But we have a bigger one at 15.5 and then here between 15.3 and lower areas. Yeah, even 14.7, for example. Much more liquidity waiting. Deribit. Nothing. Bitstamp. They are still protecting at 13.4. So that's big. 12 to 15. That's big. That's really big. Indicating so below 50K, if they are not reducing liquidity, it's going to be very hard. Because they need to push down the price a lot. With a lot of volume, of course. So we have checked that. We see that Binance, for example, we have here a bunch of sell orders, even the whole way up, as you see, until 22K. Also, for example, here at 21K, we have sell orders. We have a 20K sell orders. So you know, but of course, at the same time, even they removed liquidity here, we can still see everything below 16K. It's going to start to be tough for the sellers, for the bears. Mainly, I would say below 15,500, it starts to get exciting. So everything below 14.5, much more interesting, just because of the liquidity. Bitfinex still waiting. Also, they did a very good job because every single order they had in the order book was triggered. Everyone. So they have another one waiting at 15K. Could be 15K the bottom. Yes, possible. You know, I'm not really, I mean, even with all the crap that happened, I'm not a big fan of the scenario of 10K, 8K at the moment. It can happen, but at the moment, I'm not a big fan. 15K, go up, distribute again, go down once again, maybe combine with some bearish events? Yeah, possible. OKEX spot. I mean, just imagine if someone had told you just few months ago, what would your expectation in case that FTX would collapse? I think many of you had said, well, a market crash. Well, FTX collapsed and you see what's happening. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because some actors in the market are maintaining the price. They know. I mean, Bitfinex, Tether, Binance, we have still a lot of actors that can drive the market. So Kraken, interesting, that spot, limiting the way up, it seemed 17.2, 17.5, 18. So a lot of sell orders, but just one big buy order at 15K. Interesting. Bybit, nothing. BitMEX. Yeah, BitMEX limiting the way down at 16.4, 16.5. Binance Futures looks, and here for example you can see that very well what they do to push up the price as well. You know, a lot of long orders here waiting. Right now, short orders more waiting here than buy orders. You see what they are doing here between 19,000 and 20,000. Like they are expecting something like, you know, maybe a weekend scam pump to get, you know, to get all these shorts here. Or maybe just spoofing. Bitfinex derivatives. Also nothing I see here. Orders, but nothing big. Kraken futures. Nothing. And OKEX futures. Well, okay. Between 12 and 10,000. And that's it. So my personal opinion, I mean, nothing changed since yesterday. Absolutely nothing changed since yesterday. And that's what I don't like. Because we all know that this market can be 3 weeks and idle. And then 2 days, 3 days making $5, $10, or $15,000 in difference. Pushing up or pushing down. So... but it's frustrating just because you are all the time in front of the screens because you don't know when something is happening. And in my opinion, we are done. We are well prepared. I mean, the market maker entities reduced a lot their balances. So these Bitcoins have to be somewhere. In my opinion, they are on OTCs and sometimes sending more Bitcoins to centralized exchanges and then, you know, to maintain the price. But I don't know if they are distributing and maintaining the current price because they know we can't go lower without to trigger a panic. They don't want a panic because otherwise they can't unload at 16.6. They bought very, very cheap in 2018, 2019, and even 2020. So, we need to see. I mean, at the moment, what we see is we fail to break here, and we are failing at the moment. We just had one retest of the lower trend line. Usually, the next step would go down to 16,000 retest and then maintain here, maybe then go up. Usually it should happen. But at the moment, everything is really unclear. We have a POC here, we have a POC here. So that's what we are doing. We are going a little bit more up, then a little bit more down, then a bit. That's happening all the time. And that's the big question. Why and what could happen next? Maybe a breakout, retest, and then up, hitting 18,000 would be, for example, one scenario. It's the same scenario I have mentioned and described yesterday. Or we will retest a little bit, fail once again, go down, maintain that area here, and maybe then go down and even more and go to 15,300, maintain here, and then go up again. At the moment, I see a trade range between 19K and 15K. So we have a bigger trade range of almost $5,000, where, in my opinion, 19K would be the top and 15K at the moment the bottom. Just because, a lot of liquidity. If that's not going to change, I'm still bearish. I'm still bearish midterm. I'm still bearish even long term, not for 3, 4, 5 years. Of course not. Otherwise, I wouldn't buy spot. But I'm bearish short term at the moment. Too foggy to tell you. I mean, yes. If we take into account everything what happened in the last recent weeks, of course I'm bearish like hell. But that's a perfect situation for a short squeeze. And so I am extremely careful because I see that the market is absolutely not even related to volume reacting as expected after such a huge collapse like FTX. And all the problems that following afterwards with Gemini, with BlockFi, and now we know that they are delisting USDC via Solana blockchain. So everything feels extremely bearish and not good at all. And usually then they use it to make a short squeeze. Take into account the whole centralized exchanges activity for exchanges, it would even make sense a short squeeze because they need that money to survive. Not Coinbase, of course. So yeah, that's it. I mean, we need to see what's going to happen tomorrow. It's going to be an expiry. I don't think it's going to be a big thing. Next week in the US, we don't have any big economic data coming out. I mean, today, Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Index showing that the manufacturing environment in the US, at least in Philadelphia, is taking a big hit. So not really cool. I have also tweeted that the Fed is still hawkish. So, yeah, nothing big happening there. And next week, we have Wednesday, core durable, Jesus, I think I can't spell that. Core durable goods orders. What a word. We have Wednesday FOMC meeting minutes. That could be something that could generate a lot of volatility, of course. And that's it. Thursday, United States Thanksgiving Day. Friday, United States Thanksgiving Day. And that's it. That's going to be a very, very short week. So the only thing is FOMC meetings, if they come with a rhetoric like, well, we don't know yet, 50 BPS or 75 BPS, I think the market will dump. Until next week, go a little bit up. We know how it works. If they have insider advantage, insider informations, they will push up first hard to liquidate all the shorts and then let it nuke. We will see. It's taking a long of time. I will reduce my trades until I see something really clear. Too foggy for me at the moment. I don't like it. One side we know the bad news coming in. At the same time, the market is not doing anything. So we are far away from capitulation, in my opinion, far away from capitulation. I mean, capitulation doesn't come from whales. Capitulation doesn't come from market maker entity. The capitulation comes from retailers. Retailers are not capitulating. That's the thing. At least based on what I see on Twitter. Yeah, people are hot on shorts, but that's not capitulation. Capitulation is when you say, that's horrible. The whole market is crashing. I need to sell everything I have. It's not happening. It's absolutely not happening. Last year, that was a capitulation. It was high pace, aggressive nuke, and that was over days and days and days, and people, they started just to be, okay, that's it. I mean, we had a nice bull run, but it seems we are going back to the levels we had before the bull run. That was a big advantage for whales at that time. Market makers started to accumulate. It was the strong hand. Now, who is the strong hand? The market maker isn't. The market maker is reducing his balances. In few weeks, 300,000 bitcoins. So who is the strong hand now? It seems they're retailers, because at least, even if it's, I don't know, linked to, to bank run, but at least their balances are increasing a lot. So who knows? I hope, even I can't tell you we are going to. It was insightful and helpful, because the main goal of this analysis is to give you a better understanding of the market, the problems that we currently have, and what you could expect. I'm not going to tell you how to trade. I'm not going to tell you what level you should expect for your entries or exits. That's your homework. I'm just a little support. Everything else, it's in your hands. So, big love, be successful and careful. See you tomorrow. Your Inspo.